we just try. So come on, baby, dive deeper, dive deeper, yeah, dive deeper, dive with me, yeah. I know we could fly if we just try, baby, try, try, try. Know what I got, know what I want. Boy, don't get me wrong. Sure, we're having fun, but it don't mean that I'm in love. I like you a lot, but you gotta step up. I'm through trying to tell you what to do, how to make me fall for you. You should learn that on your own. I'll play cool, cause I hope you pick it up soon, and you know just what to do. Don't you? Boy, just be honest. I know you want it. Put some work into it, cause you know that I'm hard to love. It won't be easy, so don't be lazy. Just give it to me, cause you know that I'm hard to love.
I love working with a team towards a common goal.
For the camaraderie.
Camaraderie and playing with my teammates.
I play for my team.
Teamwork and the connections that I can build on and off field.
For the community and the exercise.
Because of the community and the competition.
I like playing Ultimate Frisbee for the competition.
I play for the competition and the fun.
For fun.
Because fun.
I love getting to work hard.
You get out of it what you put into it.
Leave everything out here.
Every time I step on the field, I want to be a better player.
You know, give something people to talk about.
Be happy but never satisfied.
To step away from real life and focus on Frisbee.
I play because I love Ultimate.
Find your drive.
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 London Invite 2023, and we are here under the surprisingly warm British weather, Lou. I mean,
Lovely.
yeah, it really, really is. So we are bringing you your first open game of the tournament here on the live stream. We've just wrapped some GB on GB action for the women's seniors and masters team out here. We won't spoil the result because, of course, you might want to go watch that back live on demand at your viewing pleasure. But myself, Hannah Penderbury, alongside Lou Burgess, and we're going to be covering some more great British national team action. We've got the open side this time against the Czech Republic's open team. So knowing that both these teams are very excited to play each other, of course, talk us through the Czech season so far on the club side, because we have seen them at some tournaments as this outfit, Lou.
Yes, they've represented at a few tournaments so far as club teams with reasonable success. I think they had a good showing at Tom's. And I forget which Elite Invite event they went to.
Well, I think Elite Invite, they were, so it's 3SB, and they were Elite Invite was in Bern, but certainly their biggest, more sort of, success that we saw them go in as a pundit's favourite into the Elite Invite back in Switzerland was when they took on, they split their club side 3SB into 2 different lines, an O line and a D line, and they actually won Vienna Spring Break, only beating each other on the way through to that final. So they were looking very tasty, and they certainly have some big players to watch out for. Number 50, their captain, David Novak, well, one of 3 captains of this Czech Republic side, big receiver in the deep space. But who should we be looking for on the GB side of the equation, Lee?
Well, they've got some serious veterans returning.
That's a nice way to talk about old people.
Tom Abrams, Ashley Yo, Justin Ford, of course, all representing the GB World Games team last year. But let's see what they can do coming out on offense to start this game, Hannah.
Absolutely. Lovely to see Robbie Haynes there on the pitch. He's had a couple of tournaments this season where he's only been allowed to be on the sidelines and warm up, of course, recovering from injury and making sure he is going to be fit as a fiddle for EUC in a couple of weeks' time. Abrams now, big arm utilised immediately out the blocks. Haynes with a fantastic read. He's been playing this game for a very long time.
Yeah, Haynes showing exactly why he's here to play and not just warm up. Great opening possession from GB. Some other players to look out for on this GB squad. Have plenty of players from representing from Clapham, of course. Got Will Rowledge. Just trying to look through the roster. Not sure why Tommy Garwood's on the roster. He's the coach. Put his number down as 99.
Well, it's you know, sometimes we keep them in when they answer our player surveys because it's nice to be able to shout out, you know, the humans running around after these players, you know, clipboard action, making sure their logistics are all on point, taking that extra bit of mental pressure off of the athletes. Especially, I think the biggest advantage of having a non-playing individual sort of, you know, doing that captaincy role rather than going for the traditional, you know, player, coach, captain kind of fandango, is you really do just get that outside perspective and that person who's not, you know, they're not worried about what their execution is on the pitch, they're just worried about the whole team as a unit. So yeah, you know, we kept him on our little roster, but yeah, not going to be cleating up as Garwood. But the Czechs on the attack now. Marek on the far sidelines, swings back. Vilemek. Big ripper coming out of Lidlow. It's going to sit and hang though. Can the GB defenders poach it off? It bounces off the hands of the intended receiver. And our first turnover of the game for the Czechs.
I mean, it's a fantastic effort to make such a close play on that disc. 2 defenders putting so much pressure on, still managed to get a hand to it. That bodes well for the rest of this game. If they're going to give GB a run for their money, they're going to have to come up with some big plays. There's some world-class defenders out there for GB.
Well, they are capable of doing them. Certainly they have a number of, when they come out for their club side, certainly the Czechs are really renowned for that big bomb deep game that they have in spades. But if you can shut that down, then you can put them under heaps of pressure. But pressure is the name of the game, because that is a high stall, small pop pass to Conrad Wilson. Bignell to Slaughter. This is nice flow from GB. Oh, but it bounced out. Second effort is there for Joel Terry, but that nearly made him look a little bit silly. Just focusing it into the hands, Williams. Looking to pop back, just jinx it in front. High roll curve. Bignell's going to have to make a huge effort to try and catch up with that, and he cannot.
Yeah, Warnock just putting a bit too much edge on that forehand. We saw in the previous game, teams were struggling with big roll curve backhands in that direction. We'll see if that causes any problems for the teams in this game. But yeah, 1 turnover apiece.
Yeah, we talked about how hot it is, but we haven't talked too much about the weather, which is not quintessentially British. So we'll have to be more stereotypical as this game develops. Big rip from Michal Marek. It's going to sit and hang. Novak underneath it, though, gets a bit, well, not spooked, but certainly the tall frame of Wilson is very difficult to see the disc go around.
Yeah, going for that connection once again, looking for Novak deep. But Wilson was there the whole way, and the disc was never easiest for Novak to make the play. Always easiest for Wilson.
Well, a good pressure from GB putting onto the handless of the Czech. Now, can they pop this one in on second asking and get a break early doors? Wilson on the far side. Has a cut deep, doesn't take it. Big no instead. Big lefty handler from Reading Ultimate. Interesting to see him play open, which he does do very dynamically. I prefer watching him in the mix though, it's good fun. Other Wilson now, both Wilson brothers. In fact, is that a sibling score? I think it is.
It is. Nicely done from GB to punch that one in. Not on the first attempt, but the Czechs really trying to make that deep connection work, and GB all over it. And then just ran it hard. Tore up the space on these underneath cuts. And punched it into the end zone. Good connection from Conrad and Magnus Wilson. They've been playing together for many, many years. Obviously, Magnus Wilson was already playing for Clapham when Conrad started his career.
Indeed, an old, I believe, Imperial College DD player is Wilson, at number 81.
Magnus. And then Conrad started his career at York University alongside myself. Back in 2013, I think Conrad started. I started in 2012.
Any insider knowledge of his early playing career then? Because I think he was a basketball athlete prior to playing Ultimate, is that right?
I can't confirm that, but he may well have. He was taken. Josh Briggs was also at York University at the time. Took Conrad under his wing very early on. Josh Briggs playing for GB Mixed this season, also on Clapham alongside Conrad. And
indeed, and we tried to get Briggsy into our commentary booth, but he is actually training with GB Mixed this weekend.
It's pretty rude of him.
Oh, it's a busy schedule, mate. It's hard to. And big shout out to Sam Murphy, also reminding us that the Czechs beat Clapham for third at Windmill, which is a huge step in their journey towards. Because of course, we jokingly, lovingly say that you know, GB Open and Clapham, there's a big old crossover on that roster. Although to be fair,
it's quite a big crossover. There's a lot of clubs represented this season.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that we said earlier, oh well, it's basically Clapham, innit? I think some of the commentators at Tom Story said, and they are absolutely wrong. A little bit of a poach off to start off the defence. Novak up line. Bit of delicate footwork there, not too much fancy required from Šipanik. Oh, nearly gets the poach off to his rollage. Klitz puts one on a piece of string in the front corner, and the run down is good.
So that's impressive from the Czechs. They struggled in that previous point to make their deep connections work. Opt for the short game this time, and do get their first point on the board. So we see them work it down this near sideline. Good feet. Nice and obvious inbounds. Another upline throw. And a few seconds later, we see yet another upline throw.
Yeah, I don't massively hate that. If you're the D-line coach for GB Open, at the end of the day, that was a lot of very uncomfortable spaces, a lot of, you know, decently contested passes. Rybka having to really just, you know, turn on the Jets into quite a small portion of the field. Obviously a short pass, so not the hardest level of difficulty rating to execute, but that's it'll be good enough to put the first on the board for the Czechs, but they're going to have to find a little bit more room and be more expansive. Otherwise, it's going to be just a you know, affair of, as we lovingly say in the UK, jam it in the jam hole.
Well, you'll hear a lot of coaches on sidelines at tournaments screaming at their players to center the disc once it's on the sideline. But if someone's free up line, why not throw it to them?
Joe Cole, why not? So, GB Open back on offense. On Abrams and Long at the back. Long, of course, stepping up into captaincy roles this season for Clapham. Ford now. A rare appearance of him this season. He's been enjoying some actual real-life activities. big effort to try and get the block from Kritz. Forward now. Casual flick up line into East. Ooh, a little bit low, but just the snag required. Inside across the front of the stack, looked a little bit dangerous for half a heartbeat, but Ben Funk just trotting through like a show pony and clutching that goal.
Yeah, nicely done from the GBO line. I mean, you can see where the "it's just Clapham lol" criticism comes from with a line like that, but the rest of the squad is filled out with representatives from a number of other clubs.
Well, and you would expect that Clapham would fill a lot of the roster, you know, having just gone and got a podium finish at Worlds.
Yeah.
That was a
and
thing.
ECF.
Oh yeah, but you know, let's be honest. If in terms of absolute, because
they peaked at Worlds for sure. I mean, that was the focus of their last season.
Yeah.
Third at Worlds is a phenomenal effort.
And let's be realistic here. It is a harder task to achieve.
Oh, absolutely.
Than gold at Euros. No shade or gauntlets being thrown there, but obviously you have to go toe to toe with the literal best in the world to get yourselves into the top end of the bracket at the World Club Championships. And there's a lot of talent outside of Europe,
Oh yeah, they had to beat some outrageously good teams to finish third at Worlds.
And lots of European teams did find themselves in the top side of the standings. So we're coming for you, North America, Colombia et al. Big shot again for the Czechs. This time it's less of a floaty hanging one, more of a zipper. I like that change, and Zvelaville with the goal.
Phenomenal throw. Perfectly weighted. Shot it through a lane where there were no defenders to get an arm in the way. Straight into the chest of the receiver. Can't ask for more than that. Let's have another look. Yeah, no hesitation. Winds up. Zips it straight to the end zone. Perfectly in stride. No big play required.
Yeah, and shout out to Angers Vidlo, featured on our live stream. There's a little bit of friendly banter thrown between some of the comrades on all of these squads. And Angers is unfortunately not winning the battle for the most bald player on the Czech team. Any guesses who that might be in terms of the top spot? Or shall I let you have a look? All right, Lou's going to have a look.
I think some of them are wearing caps.
That's
which
true.
I think is cheating.
That is cheating. All right. Well, you can sort of sometimes tell. All right. Well, in the chat, if you know who the most bold player is on the Czech team, and bold B-A-L-D, not B-O-L-D. Although we'll also accept your shout-outs for who's the most bold. We'll also give that cred at the end of the game if we remember. Bit of redemption required on the far sideline for Justin Fall, but does it with ease. Rolich around. GB happy to just patiently swing. Post stack upfield, or horizontal stack to not use too much jargon for you. Abrams has a think about it, has Rollers streaking into the deep space, goes to the underneath, forward. Oh, but there's a run through D block. And tell you what, the Czech sideline likes that a lot. Robert Ševek using the speed, but conservation of greatness. What an absolute shame. Beautiful flick from Haynes straight into the end zone. Little bits of a clutter underneath it. Are we going to see a foul call? Yeah.
Yeah, both players just getting their feet tangled together. It's a shame. I would have liked to see the clean play and who would have come out on top.
Absolutely. Well, too much ankle touching. Magnet boots even. Long now. Just an easy one, and another stat for Benjamin Funk, Dr. Funk, who must be feeling pretty warm in all those layers right now.
Well, you never know. The tights might be these newfangled thermal tights that sort of absorb sweat and make it evaporate a bit faster and keep your legs cool. Haven't tried them myself.
Well, sounds very new age, and I'm sort of semi here for it, because it's actually one of the things that Ultimate players don't think about too often is your sun exposure. And so if you can get layers on board that don't make you feel super warm, but keep your should we say European melanin levels low? Is that a delicate way to put it? But I tell you what.
Well, you just don't want skin cancer, innit?
Exactly, exactly. It's not having skin cancer is the one. So the chat knows, Lou. They know exactly who it is that we're talking about as the most bold player on the team. We'll give you a little bit of time, though, to figure it out before we look at the comments. But tell you what, you don't see Justin Ford getting just outrun very often.
It was a clean run-through block.
I know, it's gorgeous. But let's see if the Czechs can punch in this next one and keep themselves on the back heels of their opponents. A lot of loft underneath that, but good enough. Oh, bobble. Riedlo. Looking for underneath. Delicate hammer over the top. Single hand catch. Inside through. Novak just falling to the ground with a lot of grace, all things considered. Just gets a little bit too much. Oh, there we go. You see. Immediate apology from Mondiano. So Novak looking to try and distribute. Easy off hand pop back. Marek. Michal Marek, of course, playing his club Ultimate with moon catchers this season on their O-line. It's been a really good fit. That's a nice slidey one underneath Lidlow. Making a hero of himself and grabbing that off of the 3G turf. He's going to have some nice burns for his shower later.
So was it Midler who you were saying is up there for most bold player?
Yes, there is.
But not the most, but definitely up there.
Indeed, the player who currently holds the title for the most bold player actually called out Angers and said, "Sorry, it's not you, pal. It's me. I'm the boldest. It's me." In fact, I think we won't use the actual verbiage that he called out his teammate with, but you know, it's there. And we kind of love that inter-team banter.
It's pretty strong
Keep
banter.
things like. Okay, are you going to say that you found them, Lou, or are we going to go to the comments?
I think the chat's got it.
All right, we're asking the audience, a la millionaire style, and the answer is, of course, it's Tadeusz Grim. So Ted, as he's lovingly known, because not everyone knows how to say Tadeusz. But yeah, it's Ted. He's the most bold. And we are, of course, loving the chat, the live chat going on. Lots of big creds going out to the Czech team Speed. So maybe we'll have to get later on today after the showcase game, which, of course, is going to have lots of fans in the stands. We'll have to do like a 40-yard dash competition, maybe.
They've been looking quick.
They have. Or maybe we'll do it after a UC, just in case. Don't want to cause any injuries.
Should do it at UCF.
Oh,
really?
Mate,
half time of the women's or the mixed final. Get the open lads out there.
Indeed, and our non-binary mad lads representing as well. Big one going out, but it's going to be picked off by the defense. Excellent read from Martin Prach. Tom Abrams unable to communicate there. Krutz now. Underneath. Rolich trying to get his hand in there. Schwab. Lukashveld throws the assist into the path of František Čepanik. And that will put us back on serve. A break for the Czechs.
We have a game on our hands, Annie. Czechs are here to play. I must say, these mistakes from GB, these turnovers, being forced by the Czechs in a way I was not expecting coming into this. I was expecting this GBO line to be cool and clinical all game long, and here we are with the Czechs just running past the GB players and snaffling up the disc.
Well, they started off with those loose, big, deep shots to try and, you know, muscle their way into this game, but...
Then they read the YouTube chat.
Maybe they have I mean, I don't think they actually have a non-playing coach alongside them, so they're just going to have to be listening into us very, very closely. Also, yeah, we are enjoying all of the involvement from our live fans watching. We see you. Not very many likes on this game, though. Only 8 likes. Yet you're all here. Find yourself that thumb button and hit it. I'm gonna do it on mine.
We need a graphic to show up on screen.
Well, it depends on what device you're using as to where it is, though, isn't it?
True, but the thumbs up symbol, I think, is a universal like symbol. So
yeah, because that became the new thing on Facebook, wasn't it? Although now it's Meta or what have you. I remember the days where it used to be a poke, which caused all sorts of weird things. The big shot for GB Open, defended well, and that's going to be knocked out by Gladish.
So some serious questions being asked of GB. Faltering a bit early in this game.
Big fake. Is that a flat cap?
It is.
Oh, that's fantastic. I officially have a slight more bias towards the Czechs now. So we're neutral in the booth. But
that player in particular.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's brilliant stuff from Brandstetter. High stall count. That one might have to be redeemed. There's a little bit of a collision, but all fair. And Haynes just tapping the disc with his foot. Rare opportunity for GB to turn over is given back to the Czechs. So they can't have 3 on the bounce just yet. East, round to Mead. Be a bit more conservative with this opportunity, I'm sure. Haynes now putting one up for Will Rolich, and that is easy for the former rugby player.
Yeah, nicely done from GB on that possession. Both teams working so hard out there. You can feel the force that these players are pushing into the ground, sat here on the sideline. And much more calm and composed from GB on that possession. But the Czechs were right there on the shoulders. And really, as soon as GB make even the slightest mistake, it is going to be a turnover. So the pressure is there for these GB throwers. I know Will Rolich looked very calm and comfortable in the end zone, but I promise you he has been sweating so far in this game.
Yes, unlike other famous British exports, he does sweat. But a player who we mentioned as being an individual to look out for, actually, in this game, Ash Yo, is not cleated up at all. He's got some sunnies, a clipboard, and some very non-cleat shoes. So perhaps resting this one. Marek underneath. Lovely flat flick to Novak. Terry on the attack, but couldn't quite make anything of it. Rybka. Oh, sorry, Willem even. It's the 96 or the 99. Marek. Throwing in motion. Riedler now. Vertical stack, not too much action happening. Again, Joel Terry really doing everything he can to stop the Czech captain Novak from getting the passes. Lovely squeeze through Marek with a run down and a bid just to make sure.
Pick called?
Yeah, that is, considering how tight the match defense is, that is very suspiciously open.
GB have been on the shoulders every single pass. Joel Terry in particular, huge work rate at this point. Very, very impressive.
And impressive body control. He's got a big frame to throw around, and there hasn't been a foul call yet, so. Marek high, but all fine. Vavra through. Oh, look at that little pop pass. I love it. Pelikan. Riedler with a little stumble, but no need to rush. Slicing through the backfield pass creativity is fabulous, and that's good enough for the goal. Just over the doorstep. 5-5.
Well, that is confident stuff from the Czech side. GB were giving it all out there, working so hard to try and close down every single cut. But the composure from these Czech throwers was outstanding, finding these little gaps, particularly these inside forehands lead passes to players cutting from in the backfield. Trickier than they look, especially when there's tight defense on the force and on the cut. And they made it work multiple times. So I think GB are going to have to dig into their bag of tricks if they want to generate some consistent turnovers. The Czechs are not giving the disc back anymore. They're not just punting it deep and letting these tall defenders make the play. They're using their speed, they're using their quickness. They're finding cheeky little spaces in and around the disc.
Yep, and we love to see it. We'll pay our attention to the live chat after this point's expired, but there are things occurring, Lou, and we are excited to see them. Mead catching that ball off the blocks. It's ball play denial from the match defense of the Czechs. Good tight coverage. With some sagging off the handlers, just not really playing any defense on Justin Ford, just letting him have the Frisbee because they don't want him to go trot his way deep. I can understand that strategy.
Yeah, makes sense.
Justin Ford sporting not quite the frosted tips of old that he used to, but a little bit of blonde streak on top of that lid. Mead. Big one deep. That's a trust ball to Rowledge, and he snatches it. Just about staying. That was almost like a racehorse finish for that point.
That was ridiculous. Rowledge was, at no point was Rowledge free, and then somehow the fingertips of his right hand get open at the last second, and he reels the disc in. But I mean, if that's how GB are going to score, I'm not sure the Czechs are going to be too worried. That is not the highest percentage play you'll ever see. But yeah, Rowledge putting points on the board for GB.
Yeah, he didn't actually, there wasn't a real point where he won the foot race there. No. He just has that massive wingspan. Will Rowledge actually, if you can believe it, Lou, is the shorty of his family. He has two brothers, both of them are taller than him. And another Frisbee playing family. None of the brothers play, but his little sister Emma also plays. Both of them coming, of course, out of Sublime, the University of Portsmouth programme. But yeah, that is a lesson in just sheer wingspan. Tip to tip, that man is a big man. To be fair, he's not really that short either in terms of, you know, top of the head to the bottom of the feet, but wingspan. Lots of Ultimate players actually do have what they call good ape ratios. So i.e. their sort of tip to tip on the fingers is bigger than their actual stature height-wise. But this is really nice patience from the Czechs. Again, seeing them not looking for those deep shots quite so often. Big, lustrous swing across to Zvelaville. Marek. Nice little leader. More opportunities for those lead backhands floating. There's the slices of the flicks across, but there's a bit of exposed coverage in the deep space, giving the golden opportunity through. And some frustration from GB's open D-line.
Yeah, they did mix their defense up a little bit at that point, poaching slightly more off the handlers, trying to get the Czechs to swing rather than just playing strict, super tight one-to-one, which they went for last point with limited success. But the Czechs worked through it nicely. Well set up deep cut, good throw to the end zone, and that's all you need, really.
So we've had a throwdown in the live chat, Lou. Sam Murphy. Apparently there, as a local Irish lad, although I don't think he lives in Limerick, I think he lives in Dublin, if I recall correctly, being a Ranelagh lad. There's a track at the EUC premises in Limerick 4x100 relay, there's been a team that's going to challenge the fastest 4 of the Czech Republic Open team.
I would say, though, 100 meters is further than Ultimate players are used to running.
Oh, well, then it's a true test. But yeah, maybe we'll have to do some guerrilla coverage of that, Lou.
Oh, I want to see it for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Bringing the people exactly what they want. At the moment, all we want is lovely inside flicks like that one from Tom Abrams. Mead. To Rolich. Lovely movement, East now. High pop. This is, again, just really thoughtful offense. Tiny touch of air bounce on the inside flick from Will Rolich. We'll finish that one off to Thomas Cartwright.
Yeah, thoughtful is a good word to describe that offense. Every single pass looked calm and calculated. GB just marching down the pitch. Really good tempo on all of their throws. Not keeping the disc in their hands for too long. Getting the resets off early when they needed to. Hitting the players on the break side when they were open.
So at the moment, this is a really, really tightly fought thing. Both teams with a break each, so we are on serve, and we are perhaps moments away from a Galaxy point here, Luke.
Love to see it.
We do, we love a Galaxy point, it's our favourite. No, actually, I tell a lie. Universe point's the favourite, it's got to be
Well, when we're at halftime, there's no Universe point available, so we'll take Galaxy when we can get it.
Indeed. The lesser, of course, of the two. Universe point to finish off a game when scores are level, last score wins. I mean, last score wins in every game of Ultimate, more or less, but you get my point. So the mini Universe point, the Galaxy point, are we going to get one? Another zone look out of GB Open. A bit of contact calls. Is it foul call?
Really good short passes in the backfield from the Czech side. Before this foul call, they were off to the races, moving the disc fluidly across the pitch.
Lovely low one from Lidlo on the release. It's Villabil. Far around, Vavra. Oh, that's going to fall out of bounds, surely. Yes, it is. The wind just picking up that little bit and ushering that out of bounds.
Yeah, tight lane to throw to. The wind is coming from behind the camera to the far side of the pitch, so it will tend to fade wide. Looks like it went out fairly early.
So this to take half with a break advantage. Big poach off of Joel Terry on this near sideline. But all the action is going to happen on the other side of the pitch, and the Wilson brothers not connecting there. Conrad, no, that's not Conrad that dropped it. It's Magnet that dropped it. Magnus Wilson looking at his hands in dismay. Oh, that one looked a little bit ugly, but it worked. Casual low lefty grab for Rybka. It's Willemek even. Matej Willemek, lots of fakes. Eventually throws that flat pass route. Big around breaks. Terry coming in. Did he make it cleanly on Novak? He did. A bit more contact on the afterplay than I'd particularly like, but players on the pitch are the ones whose opinion matters. Big exploded coverage. And there we go. GB Open will take half 8-6 after everything came a little bit undone for the Czechs.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for the Czech national team. They had a fantastic opportunity, and even getting it back after the mistake from GB, but GB were hungry to get that point.
Absolutely. Well, Joel Terry finally getting rewarded for his tireless efforts to get a block in this game. But as the athletes out on the pitch take a brief break, I believe we will too. We'll be back with the second half of this game at London Invite after these short messages.
I love working with a team towards a common goal.
For the camaraderie.
Camaraderie and playing with my teammates.
I play for my team.
Teamwork and the connections that I can build on and off field.
For the community and the exercise.
Because of the community and the competition.
I like playing Ultimate Frisbee for the competition.
I play for the competition and the fun.
For fun.
Because fun.
I love getting to work hard.
You get out of it what you put into it.
Leave everything out here.
Every time I step on the field, I want to be a better player.
You know, give something people to talk about.
Be happy but never satisfied.
To step away from real life and focus on Frisbee.
I play because I love Ultimate.
Find your drive.
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 We see you there in our live chat, enjoying this coverage of the London Invite 2023 second edition, flush with national team talent, and we have two right in front of us. We have Great Britain Open, currently one break to the better of their Czech Republic opponents.
Yeah, it was a fiery first half. Both teams coming out full effort. We saw run-through blocks on both sides, flying layout bids, aerial battles in the end zone. It's all happening.
It has had a little bit of everything this game, including one for the history books, Justin Ford getting run through deed.
That was impressive. We don't see that very often.
We really don't. He's been playing for quite a long time as Ford. I don't actually have the stats on it because I wasn't even playing when he started.
Same.
And I'm Masters eligible, so that should tell you how long he's been at the top of the athletic spectrum.
Oh, he's also Masters eligible.
Oh yeah, he's been Masters eligible for a little while.
Yes.
I think there was a call out thrown down because, of course, Ultimate Annals of History, Clapham used to have a lovely rivalry with Skogs from Sweden, which now gets settled mostly on a golf sort of course. I nearly call it a golf pitch then, goodness gracious me. But yeah, they have some reunions on the tees, all that sort of stuff, and the greens. But there was a bit of shade thrown to Skog saying they'd gone into Grandmasters to avoid having to rematch against the Masters Beach squad a couple of EUCs ago on the beach surface. Well, it's nice to see kind of those rivalries living on, but of course they're really, because it's Ultimate, I think, partly, but also for just general reasons of life, they are really nice, friendly rivalries. There's very few teams that have those real, like, grudge match type affairs. So this to keep themselves within one. GB, of course, won the toss, started on offense, and they're starting to try and tighten the screws here. Just about escaping to get the reset through. Moving across Novak now. Man who struggled to figure any sort of fun facts for our commentary until we found out that Novak actually moves millions every day as a financial controller in his day job. Oh, that one nearly escaped glitch, but all good. So we have the scent of barbecue starting to waft across our pitch. Willem. Again, the Czechs are now being forced onto the sideline into small spaces, just having to keep an eye on their feet. Halamka around. It sits, looks, exploits the face mark of Warnock. Big noise isn't there to make the roof, and there's a little explosive flick. Rises up a little bit, but that's going to be good for the first point of the second half in the hands of the Czechs.
Yeah, good work from the Czechs. It looked like GB were hungry for that point. They came out firing, but the Czechs just kept their cool. They were forced into some small spaces on this near sideline multiple times, but didn't seem too flustered. Always managed to find a way out before the stall count got too scary.
And I'm pretty sure that was a full 7 effort. I would put a small amount of honour, definitely not any monetary kind of action going on, but you know, on the fact that I think every Czech player on that line touched the disc at least once. Also, a little quick thing, because we have so many Irish fans in our live chat at the moment. Did you know, Lou, we're getting a guest commentator in the GB Nomadic Tribe showcase game?
I did. I think you informed me of this.
Do you know who it is? Tell the fans.
I've forgotten who
is it. Ferdia Rogers? I think it is.
Oh yes.
So I'm sure
Exciting.
any self-respecting Ultimate fan who's based in Ireland and maybe has played with Ferdia in the past will definitely want to be there for his debut in the booth. But you'll have to wait a couple of hours for that action to happen, as GB now go against a Czech zone variant. So this is the first time we've seen the Czechs play zone. I like it, trying to sort of slow down GB. They haven't been completely sure-footed. Abrams. Someone will be relatively happy to be played zone against him. I say that one just gets redeemed going over the top of Mead. Rolich sort of scooping it up. Again, using that stature. Wind starting to pick up a little bit. You might be able to see in the very back of the shot there is actually a wind turbine locally here on the outskirts of London in lovely Osterley, near to Osterley Park. Cartwright now. GB now adjusting their throws, making them a lot lower rather than the ones floating up.
Czech staying with the zone.
I like it. It is definitely working. It is containing the GB offense, making them have to be very, very patient. Quite a passive zone. Ford linking it through though and casually sashaying to the front corner. Rollage for the goal.
Nicely done from GB. Very calm and collected outside the end zone. There wasn't a huge amount of pressure being put on them, but they also didn't force the issue. Just trusted that the disc movement would get the job done eventually. Would have liked to see a few more players outside the end zone potentially, and some more aggressive attacking from behind the disc, but they made it work with 3 players just swinging it left and right. And that's a confident zone offense point. Czechs are going to have to think twice about throwing that look again.
And who's that on the far sideline? Is that Conor McHale sauntering around in his Clapham kit? I do like the new black and gold strip.
Oh, I do. The Clapham kit this year is very clean, very easy to read.
Very attractive for us as commentators. And can we say, pretty, like, just a really classic look. They've looked at old kind of GB, not GB kits, old Clapham kits of the past. And of course, changing kit suppliers this season. The only sponsored team of Zoo and the Open Division, I think, in all of Europe, potentially. But we'll talk about maybe some of the kits we like and don't like as this tournament goes on. So back to this saggy, poachy, sort of like an arrowhead type style of defense. Sideline counting the passes as we melt to match. A little bit of air bounce on there. So it requires a little bit extra effort from Zvelabil. Ridlo loves those low inside flicks. He executes so well. Novak now. Staying calm. Again, the inside shots. That's Pavel Pelikan on that one, and the hockey assist sets up Ridlo for Novak in the end zone.
Really nice inside forehand break.
You almost start to wonder, Lou, if maybe GB should consider forcing the other way, because there have been so many really lovely break flicks from the Czechs.
Yes, I mean, Bignall almost got the point block on that one. He saw that the shoulder fake was not the real threat, stuck his toe out to try and get the block, didn't quite get there. It would be interesting to see how the Czechs react to a backhand force, but I'm not convinced it's going to necessarily change the situation too much. They might just go for the around flicks rather than the inside backhands. They've been dealing brilliantly with the defensive pressure from the GB defensive unit.
We're making the error ourselves, aren't we? We're saying Clapham too much. Yeah, I was
going to say Clapham players and realised that most of that line wasn't even necessarily Clapham players. So Bignall, for example, not a Clapham player.
I don't think he's ever played for Clapham. Of course, he doesn't need to, because he has a fantastic club to play for right on his doorstep. Now, of course, he's very responsible for helping to create and tend like a beautiful Italian garden. Mead, casual blade toss. Ford. This is good patience again from Great Britain. Czechs just playing some fabulous buzz switch style defense in the back with the sort of sagging off the handlers, trying to just put cotton wool around the edges of GB's sharp offense. Abrams leads Long. Alexis Long, formerly of Kent Open, back in his junior days. Mead now. Again, long-time player. I think featured just on the under-20s Open team that won a bronze medal alongside the likes of Ashley Yo back in 2010. Over the top, upside down shot even. I think that was Scuba. Cartwright. Again, another of the junior GB players of old. Long now to Mead. Abrams. TC, as he's known, that number 11, Tom Cartwright. That's a younger brother, Deck, also playing, I believe, for this squad. Ford. Oh, cheeky, cheeky boy. A little bit of balletic footwork from Tom Abrams, getting himself a rare opportunity, a goal and not an assist.
Yeah, I don't often see Abrams getting the goal, normally throwing the assist, as you say, but snuck into the front of the end zone for that one.
Yeah, snuck onto our stat sheet. He's not got himself on it until that. Actually, no, I take it back. It will upload on my system in a second. And a massive shout out to Ed, the stats man, working under our hot sun. Well, to be fair, the sun has disappeared. It's gone in, and I am actually really here for it because it was getting a little bit warm on our laptops there for a minute. But yeah, a little bit of cheeky footwork. And talking about the distribution of the stats so far for both sides, it's been really even for Great Britain. You've got a couple of people standing out on the stats board, but not quite the same for the Czechs.
No, I mean, for GB, we've got obviously Will Rowledge just being an absolute monster in the end zone.
He's a hoover. He just hoovers up everything.
I think that's a good way to describe the closely contested run down catch he had in this right-hand end zone. But
yeah, he's been working with Dyson technology. From the other side of things, Matej Vilimek has been going to work for the Czechs. Currently 4 stats, 2 goals and 2 assists. But another re-emergence of GB's zone. Easy one over the top to Marek. Looks immediately for that dish. Ooh, just enough under that to Vavra to keep it hanging. Novak, Ridlo. And is that another stat for the number 99?
looks like it. Really good movement outside the end zone for the Czechs.
Vilimek's so rapid, so rapid.
Even more so when the disc hasn't stopped moving for the past 10 seconds or so. You see it all starts with this move. And just pop, pop, score.
Yeah, a bit of rapid action. Pure, unmitigated joy there from whoever's tiny human that was, just getting a bubble gun out. Oh no, it's not a bubble gun. It's a what's it, water pistol. That's the word, Lou. What was your water pistol of choice growing up?
I don't think I ever had a Super Soaker. I think the dream was always to have a Super Soaker, and I somehow never got one.
They were very popular. I too was also kept away from the likes of the Super Soaker. As we see, another gun being unleashed. Big pull coming out of the Czechs. Long. And again, it's sort of a zony look from both sides, just trying to figure each other out and play a chess match almost.
Yeah, we settled into a very strategic game at this point.
For doing the slow motion pass and then immediately try and get away from your matchup by running really quickly. That might be a little bit curious from East, but tracked down well by Rowledge. Did have separation for Cartwright in the end zone, but chooses to just keep it nice and simple. Abrams seeing the jink that allowed the escape from Brandstetter for East, and that's a lovely way to score.
Yeah, nice cut from Josh East. Juking back and forth just enough to cause the defender to lose their footing ever so slightly.
I really want to have another look at that, because it's that, I think it was just he chopped his feet a little bit. He didn't really, so you see him go past Abrams there, but I don't think it was really he actually turned at all. He just sort of like chopped his feet as if he was going to turn and sort of slow down and turn around, and then just kept going. It was like, oh, actually, you've because you could see his defender completely lost balance.
Yeah, he just threatened to cut back into the backfield and then busted up line, trusting Abrams to have that throw. I mean, the two of them have played together a lot.
You could say that, you could say that.
So,
but delightful scenes here, literal delight. Look at that. Having the time of my life, mate.
good pull.
David Novak on this near side finds Marek. Riedlo has the shout from the captain saying he has exploded away from his matchup, leaving Conrad Wilson for dust.
Yeah, great cut from Novak to get free just at the right time, and a fantastic throw. Once again, Czechs have moved away from that floating it up type deep shot that they were trying at the start of the game with no real success, but pinging it straight into the breadbasket of their receivers is working wonderfully for them. Once again, neither team really able to figure the other out on defense. Some strats have been thrown down, but nothing is sticking for either team.
All right then. Clipboard star Lou Burgess. If you were currently, because the Czechs are coming out on defense, they're heading for the pool. If you were coaching the Czechs, what would be your strategy?
So I like the idea of the zone that they've been doing, but it's just been a little bit too passive. So I'd prefer to see a more aggressive zone, perhaps a 3-3-1 with some very aggressive handler marks. And then you're risking the deep space a little bit by only having one deep. But that's a question that GB have to prove that they can answer.
Indeed, we did see a couple of their throws coming out loose early doors in this game. The wind has disappeared along with the sunshine. Mead tracking that one down over his head. Good exploitation again of the face marking in the handle space. There is the space though in the deeps opened up. And I think that's Robbie Haynes with the goal under a big battle.
I don't mind the just hard match look. That was definitely another very viable option. The issue though is that the way that teams train at the top level, they expect the hard match as the default defense and tend to have very good plans on how to deal with it, and that's exactly what we saw here. GB setting up this cut nicely, good throw, good catch from Haynes.
Yeah, good catch up though in terms of the speed, because Haynes definitely had a good sort of, you know, extra metre and a half or so on the matchup when he was streaking towards the deep space. So great recovery from the defender, and I think still there's something a little bit to be desired from GB Open's throwing. Their receivers are having to really work hard to make sure they are clutching those goals. That one perhaps, you know, could have been taken at a higher speed a little bit earlier for Haynes. So the Czechs looking to stay within contention of this game as time gets towards expiry. Just shy of 10 minutes left of regulation play. Usual cap rules, of course, +1. Marek giving and going with Willem. This is really rapid stuff now from the Czech Republic Open side. Willem. Marek around. Terry again putting pressure, very close. Pavel Pelikan now he's marking. Has a little squeak through. This is really great faith and trust, but it's going to be taken away. An error unexploited on the look back by Hayden Slaughter. Everyone on the GBD line just running away from the disc to start, clearing them out hard. Terry. Around to Rolich. Has Bignall looking for the deep space, doesn't like it. Hayden under. Curious fake technique there from Terry, almost like he's sort of, you know, opera singer. But this would be a huge moment for this game if GB can get a break this late stage to put themselves one further in front. Currently, of course, having ground 2 breaks out in the first. The Czechs putting their own campaign together. Mondiano now. Movement early from the front of the stack. Air bounce on that backhand break. Oh, and a laser through, but it's knocked out of contention. There's going to be a chat between Rolich. Looks like Tadeusz Wawra.
It's one of the few times Rolich hasn't cleanly just had the disc in his hand at the end of the play.
Well, I think that one possibly under too much traffic. It wasn't the nicest throw, sort of directly into the both of them. If Rolich had control, if it's a strip, then sort of fair enough. It looks like a reasonable battle.
It's kind of difficult to see from this angle exactly what happened. I can believe there's contact. Whether it affected the play is up to the players to decide.
Yeah, no sort of momentum of one really pushing the other away, that sort of more hustle-tussle action. I wouldn't mind for that one to come back.
No, it's very indecisive from this angle at least.
But they're asking for the VAR, or, well, not VAR, because there is no R, there's no referees in Ultimate. But of course, we don't make the acronym with Game Advisor, because that becomes even more amusing. Exactly, Lou, exactly. We've had some love in the live chat, though, of what they think the tactics are to stop GB, but we'll chat about that later. That one does indeed go back contested.
Very reasonable outcome.
Absolutely. Big around. Hugh Williams, high for Joel Terry. He puts that point and that break to bed.
Good hustle from GB. They had to work to get the block. They had to work to march it down the field. And this impressive work rate that we've seen from the GBD line all game continues. And they're rewarded with the break. Actually, it was a hold, wasn't it? We have the stats.
That was a break.
There was a break.
Break
okay.
13-10.
Yes,
you're
no,
right,
I was
Lou,
confused. I was confused because Will Rowledge has been playing O-line, and he was on that line as a defender.
He's someone that you really are going to be pulling across every so often. He used to be a D-line stalwart. He's now, now a distinguished elder statesman of the GB Open program.
Well, there were some questions at the start of this season when we saw Rowledge rocking up on the O-line for GB. Tommy Garwood with the bold choice, but he's been, as you say, hoovering up everything that comes near him, so it makes a lot of sense.
It does, it does.
He does generate blocks at will, but also if the O-line needs a bailout option, which they will do at this level, then he's probably the best on the roster for that. Has been this game for sure.
But this to keep things alive for the Czechs. A break here, I think, would see us. Well, not actually, no. We do still have a little bit of regulation time left. Just under 5 minutes. High rise for Novak on the far sideline. Underneath. Oh, that one's a little bit too rushed. No, it's not. Great eyes. Andrzej Ridlo with the clutch grab.
Really good high-tempo offense from the Czechs once again. Keeping the disc moving, not letting the GB defenders get set up. And nice throw to cap off the point. As you say, it looked like it was going to pop up a little bit too high, but not a problem.
It's a dirty dish. That was a dirty dish. But it's fine, because it's Andrzej Ridlo has a very big cloth that he's just wiped it all down with. And if you excuse my flowery metaphor, dear listeners. We're getting some love from across the world. El Shaq appearing in the chat. Of course, famous ULTI.TV Down Under commentator. We miss you, El. Occasionally graces us with her presence on a European scene. And if you're watching this one, please do consider hitting that like button, helping us ascend through the YouTube algorithm rankings. Getting involved in the live chat also helps. What else helps, Lou?
There's a big fat button with the word subscribe on it. You can click that. And the bell that goes alongside it to be notified every time we go live. Because, of course, we don't have one big stream all day. You do have to click on each individual game. So getting a push notification every time we go live is going to help you stay on top of the action.
Absolutely. Nice one for Funk, having to work a little bit harder than he did in the early stages of this game, where we saw him keep trotting away to get free and get passes. Great match coverage, stall count rising, finds long though. Rowledge jinking in front, replaced by Haynes. Thankfully no friendly fire for those two lads, both hailing from the south coast. Well, for their ultimate playing careers anyway. Haynes, of course, previously a Thundercats college team with the Thundercats themed jerseys. So a timeout being taken by Justin Ford here as the Czechs put on some very dynamic person match. I quite like the sticking with keeping it simple, because the speed on the Czechs is really tricky for GB to keep up with. So timeout, and as we get a break on the field, we will be right back with the rest of this game after these short messages. Back in the action here, Great Britain open on offense to try and close out this game with a big old lead. This for the hold. Did we get what the stall count is, Lou?
I don't think we did. It's quite high though. Justin had the disc in his hands for a good few seconds.
Time is over.
Time expiring over the Tannoy system locally here. London Invite, of course. Second edition for 2023. Back in action. Ford, oh, easy does it. Just East running towards the front corner. Miscommunication set up from the Czechs. And we have a game, I believe, still to 15. Yeah, because that'll be 14-11 for Great Britain. Started, of course, with that natural advantage by winning the toss and opening up this game on offense. But this is an opportunity here for the Czechs to really test their mettle, Lou.
Yeah, they've dug themselves a bit of a hole. GB came out, got a few breaks, and it looked like this game had potential for a universe point in it, but GB running away at the second half of this second half. So GB get one chance to win it on a break and really assert their dominance. And then it will be 4 offensive hold opportunities in a row.
Well, do we see Joel Terry on the pitch for defense? No, we don't. He's been my standout player for this game so far on defense. So let's see if the Czechs can put that first one in. No, it's going to be an error thrown pretty much into the bread bin of the player wearing the wrong shirt. But I tell you what, action man roll to finish us off. that Warnock? Yes, it is. Andrew Warnock grabbing that final goal after the pick-off from Ethan Morrell, who's wearing Hugh Williams' shirt.
Well, what a way to end the game. There's an old saying in Ultimate that great teams win on a break, and GB getting it done on that occasion. Hard punishing the slight mistake and slotting it straight in. Good fast break, good technique to keep the disc moving and getting it into the end zone. And GB going to be confident for the rest of the tournament after that performance.
Absolutely, and deservedly so. A nice way to finish us off. If you're a Great British fan, of course, commiserations to the Czech. They were toe-to-toe most of the game, but then it's sort of just the defensive adjustments weren't quite there on their side of the bench. Next up on our stream, we have more Open Division action. Of course, a little bit more full, this Open Division than the women's, because that's going to be Germany Open versus the Masters team from France. Going to be facing off on this pitch next. So don't go anywhere. We will bring you all of that game and more. We'll see you on the other side.
Thanks. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, Ultimate.
ULTI.TV.